What's up, everybody? Savage here, Brian here, and today I will be doing another YouTube video. So I haven't been uploading recently. I was a little bit sick and I was coughing a lot, so I couldn't do any actual YouTube videos. But I'm here and I'm going to do a YouTube video. So if you didn't know, on December 7th, Game of the Year Awards is here, and for the nominees for the Game of the Year Awards is, of course, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and of course, Super Mario Odyssey. And if you want to know which game I think will win Game of the Year awards, I think that it will be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because that's an awesome game and also won the Golden Joystick Awards for this year, which is really hard to get for a game. Something that Nintendo needs to tell us at Game of the Year Awards is more about the Champions Ballad DLC Pack 2 for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And that is supposed to come out this month, and they have never really said anything specific about it. We barely know anything about it, and they haven't even revealed a trailer, and they need to this Game of the Year. So all we know right now is that it's going to be giving us a new story, of course, a new dungeon, and additional challenges. Besides that, nothing really. We did get a little bit of some development footage, but besides that, nothing else. So I will be doing some speculation and some awesome theories about the Champions Ballad. So let's get into it. So the four champions are Daruk, Mifa, Urbosa, and of course, Revali. And I'll be making a theory that these guys are related to the sages from Ocarina of Time, which are Ruto, Darunia, Impa, Saria, Naboru. I think I pronounced that right. And of course, Rauru, or whatever that name is pronounced. It's a really weird name. And there technically is Zelda, but she isn't really a sage. But she's part of the seven sages. I call it six sages because Zelda reincarnates all the time in every Legend of Zelda game. Well, almost every Legend of Zelda game. But the sages don't. They just get descendants that become the next sages. But I believe that these guys are the sages because there are no sages in Breath of the Wild. They mention some of the sages in Ocarina of Time by a lot. So I will tell you which champion I think is related to which sages. So let's start with Daruk, which I think is related to Darunia because they're both Gorms and stuff like that, and that's why it's really self-explanatory. And now the next person is Mifa. This is where it gets a little bit harder to tell which champion is related to who from now on because of timeline stuff. So Ruto is of course related to Mifa, and then I also believe Saria is related to Mifa also because of something very familiar about the two. Similar about the two in Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time. First things first is Saria sort of likes Link in Ocarina of Time. And Mifa definitely likes Link in Breath of the Wild. And also, they are sort of both gentle. And you can tell Mifa's definitely because she's got Mifa's grace. And also, talking about the champion powers, who we don't exactly know how they got the champions, the heck you want to call them. But I know for a fact that they most probably are related to sages, and that's who I think Mifa is related to, even though sorry is a long shot. Now, next up we have Urbosa, and I think Urbosa is related to Noboru, which is self-explanatory because they are both Gerudo, and I also think Impa is sort of related to Urbosa. I really didn't know where to put her for a sage because of Rivali, but that's really the only reason why I even put her to be related to Urbosa. And now let's get to Rivali, the most complicated one of the champions. So we have two people. So there's Rauru, the Sage of Light, but in Hyrostoria, um, uh, there is some speculation about Rauru actually being the bird, aka owl, from Ocarina of Time because of something that they say in the Hyrostoria about like Oharu being able to fly, something like that. And then there's of course Medley, who was only seen in Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and is also a descendant of Ruto, the sage seen Ocarina of Time that is a Zora, since in Wind Waker the Zora become the Rito because the sea is flooded. And that also gives us something else interesting here is the Legend of Zelda timeline split after Ocarina of Time. It's split into three timelines. The Downfall timeline, where Link is killed by Ganon and causes a lot of games where Ganon returns over and over again. Then the Child timeline in the middle, where Ganon gets arrested because Link goes back in time and warns Zelda. And then in the adult timeline, where the Zora turns to Rito and all of Hyrule gets flooded by the gods because Ganon returns and breaks the seal that was put upon Ganon after Link successfully killed him. And he came back and that stuff happened. And New Hyrule was established eventually. But the thing is that in the child timeline, the sages never awoke, but yet there are some references to child timeline, a lot of references and stuff. So if there were to be related to sages from the child timeline, it would have to be the sages from Twilight Princess that are seen trying to kill Ganon, but they fail to do that and then banish Ganon into the Twilight Realm, and they do talk to Link in Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which is sort of a long shot that they are related to sages a little bit on which sages they are related to, since there are only six sages. That's not including Zelda. And there's 4 champions, which makes it a little bit confusing, which really annoys the heck out of me when you're a theorist and it gets so confusing like this. But where would the dungeon take place? In the Temple of Light, and the only place we've seen of the Temple of Light is in the Chamber of Sages that is seen in the Sacred Realm. And the reason I believe that is because Zelda has a whole Triforce, and because Ganon is defeated and she has sealing powers, I believe that Ganon was sealed away into the Sacred Realm and then has corrupted the Chamber of Sages and all of the Sacred Realm, and he will then one day break the seal out of the Sacred Realm and then take over Hyrule once more, and that the champions will then need to go to the Sacred Realm and then fight Ganon's forces and then go to Chamber of Sages and then kill Ganon once and for all, so that Ganon can never disturb Hyrule once more. But this would make sense, but the thing is that there are new 4 champions now, since the champions in Breath of the Wild are dead, and that's going to be Sidon, Rihu, Tiba, and of course, Yenobo, that Fat Boy. And three of them are related to the champions from the past, but the only one who isn't most probably is Tiba, who would be related to Rivali, of course, but there is some speculation on how he could be related to Rivali. He could be like a cousin or something, like maybe Rivali's cousin had a son, it and then the son was Tiba or something like that. It could be that. It's really confusing on how that would work, since Tiba isn't like a direct descendant of Rivali then. And we know Rivali never even had any children. Another interesting thing is, what exactly will we get from this new awesome dungeon? It's We know it's most probably going to be a traditional dungeon, but what will we get? Will we get an item like the hook shot that could help us in the dungeon by making it so the walls and stuff are slippery and hard to climb, and then you need to use a hook shot and solve a bunch of puzzles? Or will you get like your own champion ability, and not a champion ability from the other four champions, but your own champion ability that only Link himself has, that he gets in the Sacred Realm? Or the Triforce of Courage gives him, or something in the Sacred Realm, this dungeon, if it even takes place in there. I keep saying Sacred Realm a lot. But it's really interesting. What exactly will we get in there? Hopefully, it's something really good, like in nighttime. I really do want the hookshot though, since that's one of my favorite items in all the dungeons, in all Legend of Zelda games, because it's very sweet to have. And also, another thing I would like to point out is that in the end of Breath of the Wild, we see in the end of Breath of the Wild, we see that Zelda wants you to go to Varuta because it's been malfunctioning, and that's where my speculation sort of begins to make sense. Is that Ganon, since he's not truly dead but just sealed into the Sacred Realm, he's still able to use his dark magic, and he's slowly like going to corrupt all divine beasts, or just stop them completely from working, so that when he comes back, he'll then be able to take over all of Hyrule without a problem, except for Link and Zelda. But he would probably be powerful enough to like take over Hyrule if he just retakes over all the gardens, and since he would then be able to like dismantle all of the divine beasts, if he is the one truly doing this, then he can just retake over them and stuff like that. But since Ganon is sealed away, he would probably be weaker and would just be trying to shut down all the divine beasts and stuff. And a cool thing is, like, they could make it so when you enter the divine beast and find out about the problem in it, there would be like a cool boss awaiting for you when you're exploring divine beast Faruta. And then you would find like a boss like Morpha in Legend of Zelda or Ocarina of Time, because that boss was a little bit annoying, but it is a water type boss. I'm just showing you an example of what they could do. Like, you need to kill this boss and stuff, and then because of this, Zelda then sends you to then recruit the new champions, and then they find out that they are actually descendants of sages, or like Impa tells you that they are descendants of sages, since she knows a lot about like the battle 10,000 years ago and stuff, so she could like tell you that. And then you need to go to the sacred realm, and the only way to do that is to have Zelda help you go into the sacred realm with the new 4 champions, and you need to then help help them through the whole dungeon, and you get the hookshot or whatever you need to get in the dungeon, and then you find Ganon, and then you must fight him again, and then once that happens, then you have the 4 champions help kill Ganon once and for all. And with these new champions, you would need to help them more by probably giving them the 4 champion powers. Since we know Yonobo has a champion power, maybe you need to give them the powers of the other 3 champions, or maybe you teach them the powers of the powers of the old champions, because that would make the story even longer and stuff, and that would also be fun, trying to help them do that. And then you need to go to each divine beast, and then they'll learn the way of using their champion ability or whatever, which probably won't happen. It would just be a cool thing that I would like to see and stuff. Another thing I would like to see lastly is I would like to see the reconstruction of Hyrule Castle Town in Breath of the Wild as a quest that you need to do also. Once Hyrule's completely destroyed, and then you rebuild Hyrule Castle at the end, sort of like how you rebuild Harry Town in the side quest in Breath of the Wild, which was actually pretty fun to do, by the way. And then you need to find people from certain races to help you build, and then you find Bolson or something, and then they help you find the people to then build Hyrule Castle Town, and then you also need to um help too by collecting wood or something like that, or maybe some ores like luminous stone, in that side quest for the Zora's domain, that you need to give the Zoras I believe 10 pieces of luminous stone, and then they'll give you a diamond, and you give them this so they can help fix Zora's domain from all the damage that's been caused by all the rain or something like that. I think it would be like that, but that could be another thing that you have to do, is find specific ores or something besides wood. But it would be amazing to see Hyrule Castle Town Breath of the Wild, since Hyrule Town would be the biggest of all the other variations in the Legend of Zelda series, and also that's where they could add some additional challenges, and they could add a bunch of side quests in the new Castle Town and Hyrule Castle. There could be a side quest where you need to help recruit the new army for Hyrule Castle to help protect Princess Zelda. And those are all my thoughts and speculations and theories about Breath of the Wild DLC Pack 2. Hope you enjoyed these theories and stuff. I've been working hard on finding as much information about DLC Pack 2 and stuff. Hopefully some of the stuff I said will make it into DLC Pack 2, because some of the stuff I said could be possible. It would be interesting to see the champions be related to the sages, but that'll be it for today. So bye, see you next video.